was always because of that. You heard Miley Cyrus say that. You heard Raven Simone say that, and just go bam all the time. And after you brought it back, you brought that back with Livin' Maddie, and they even did a whole scenario on how it got started. With that little something extra. With that little something extra, I think kind of, it's been kind of revolutionized and added to where bam would be like, that's so lame now. Because now, of course,
she's a lot better than
you
Miley.
got Dove Cameron
she
that,
does
of
that a
course,
lot
did
better
the whole
than Miley. I think
bam, what?
Very unpredictable.
Adding the what to bam.
She'd be something to be around for
really
24 hours. I bet you'd lose your mind.
Yeah, well, the one thing I gotta say is I'm surprised they're doing Livin' Maddie like this with Dove Cameron, because normally they got two twin blondes that are identical twins that look like Livin' Maddie when they got to do something where the camera trick isn't going to work that well, and especially if they're going to do something that'll have more of a distance to it, they'll just have them both dress up like Livin' Maddie.
Yeah.
For the sake of the shot. Sometimes
the thing
you saw
is,
one, sometimes
Disney,
you saw the other when it
great
came
shows, but
to
reiterate things like the BAM thing. I mean, with Miley Cyrus, it was really overkill. It was either BAM or Good Night, Everybody. And I mean, do we really want to see that over and over and over again? You really want to hear me? Do you really want to hear me coming on the ear saying BAM 500 times, or putting over gummy bears as much as what I do? I do. Well, gummy bears is a different thing.
Ravens.
Gummy bears were excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and even when Raven Simone did the whole BAM, she was a little more of a soulful BAM type of thing, but again,
sound bites for when I make your
it's going to sound lame because BAM, what? It just works. I mean, it's just, I kind of like the whole BAM, what? I love it when I heard Dove Cameron do that, I was like, oh my God. It's like those simple words that were used on Disney now being done with the what in it with Dove Cameron. It's like saying Disney turned a corner with something. So I mean, there's a whole thing there. So, but yeah, getting back to that answer and what they said.
No, but the thing
I
is
don't disagree with you. Hannah Montana was great for its time.
2004, even with the way they placed was 2004.
The spinoff didn't work out so well with Corey in the House.
16 years, 11 years. Right, so I don't know. But if I had to choose, which was a Waverly Place, if you had to choose, it would be Sweet Life, right?
Yeah. Well, I did listen to a pickle when things happened to Demi Lovato, and the whole point of which one was the superior network for kids and teens, being between Nickelodeon and Disney Channel. Disney really got themselves into a pickle because you had Hannah Montana end the next year where you're expecting Sunny with a Chance to be your big show for a couple of years, and Demi Lovato had her mental breakdown, led to Sunny with a Chance being so random, and they so dropped the ball with that. After it became so random, you needed to take the remaining cast members, let them do a few of them, but then add new cast members that really could have done it. To me, Emily Osment doing So Random, which was Disney Channel's answer to Saturday Night Live, I think would have been. I think that show would be around today if you surrounded around the old cast members. I mean, random ultimately because the blonde girl who was the oldest member, she was actually 26 years old. Oh God, what's her name again? That's gonna haunt me. She was married and she'd actually gotten pregnant.
Yeah.
And that pretty much ended So Random. So, I mean, Sunny with a Chance was supposed to be it. I mean, they got I will admit to this. Disney got lucky because they had one hit that was able to compete, which was Shake It Up.
Oh, yeah.
Even the show Jessie, which was going to be Debbie Ryan's starring role. I mean, that was good, but it was not. It was, to me, not as up there as the predecessors before it. Hannah Montana, Sweet Life,
Oh.
The Sweet Life, and Wizards of Waverly Place, and you'll even throw That's So Raven in there.
Yep.
It did not have that.
Nope.
Austin and Ellie really, did not have that. And you look at Nick. Nick really for a while didn't have anything, other than Drake and Josh. And they knew they had to pull something out because they dropped the ball with Drake Bell because they thought he was being outshined by the Jonas Brothers on Disney. And Drake Bell, to me, is a much more talented vocalist than the Jonas Brothers, any of the Jonas Brothers. But they didn't run with him.
He ran with the Jonas Brothers.
But if it wasn't for the two things that happened, if it wasn't for the fact that Drake and Josh was done, Zoe 101 ended early, all because of what's her name getting pregnant.
Jamie Lynn Spears.
Jamie Lynn Spears getting pregnant, and she used that to get out of her contract. If it wasn't for that fact, two things came out from all this: Miranda Cosgrove doing iCarly, and of course Victoria Justice doing Victorious. Those shows became the trademark shows for Nickelodeon because both of them could compete.
And for those of you who are a fan of Victorious and iCarly and shows like Rugrats and Hey Arnold, again, we talked about this for months on end on the Wacko Network, and they are bringing all those shows back as reruns as part of the Splat. Again, I wonder who is listening to this show. I wonder who is listening to me on YouTube. Come forth. Tell us who you are. Please.
Oh yeah. And I remember just saying it. I was telling a lot of people, including, I was talking to Chuck Skull, I was talking to Beautiful Ben. I even probably talked to you a few times about it, and I just said, Nick right now has the upper hand with these two shows. Granted, they have other shows, and their version of the Jonas Brothers and Big Time Rush was happening, and of course at the same time iCarly pretty much ended. That ended prematurely to a lot of people. A lot of that had to do with the fact that both Miranda Cosgrove and the male co-star, the one kid, both of them decided to go to college, and they want to I guess they want to complete their process of education before they even try to make it back in there. Of course, Josh Peck from Drake and Josh, we can see him now on the Fox Network with John Stamos. With Grandfathered. The other, and then of course Victorious ended shortly after that, but they formed Sam and Cat, which was taking these two great shows, making them one, and that was going to be bigger than both to really evolve that show when the show ended. Sad case. And what was happening at that point? What happened?
Showed up.
Girl Meets World came. Shake It Up ended prematurely. Yeah, Girl Meets World showed up. Liv and Maddie really broke through at some point in the second season. They really broke through. So did
I Can Do It.
What's that show called again? I Didn't Do It. Yeah, it was really starting to get a response. A lot of people are gonna say, because we really would end after that. A lot of
I don't know, but see, the thing about Dog with a Blog is really quickly here. How many shows have we seen or movies where dogs talk? Like, really?
No, you're right about that. I mean, I just think Dog with a Blog was something that if they didn't have that going on with the dog, the show with just the characters would be lame, because I mean, you got one character, the older,
who's probably the most
the
energetic
older
one on them.
brother,
And then you had that guy, I think.
in that one, who he's one who say, and he kind of had the same look though that what's his name
Spencer.
had on Victorious.
But, you know, it'll take
Yeah,
time.
Beck
And we
had,
want to thank
actually.
everybody for your questions on Twitter. And if it keeps going in this direction, Bob, you might have to do a show just strictly devoted to Disney. Holy Jesus.
I've done a lot of that, you know. Myself and Ben have done that where we really
Yeah.
talked a lot of Disney.
Guys,
But
thanks for all your tweets and your
we'll
questions.
see what we
I
can
didn't know
do
you guys had that many
where things
questions
go
for
with
me.
Disney
God almighty, that's
and whatnot.
that's pretty crazy. I didn't know I had such a big fan base for that stuff. I just thought it was something stupid to talk about years ago, and it blew up.
Yeah, well, we'll probably, if we don't feel we could do the whole Bo Leave thing or not, we might come back and maybe
ask more
do a
Disney
Q&A
questions
show.
Anything
We
you
might
got
actually
Disney
do
questions
that.
or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll
do
answer
it-
anything because God knows I've had a history with that for years.
Yeah.
I can answer just about anything on Disney. And I'm especially going to like the Dove Cameron questions. I like the Dove Cameron questions, too, because that really gets her name out there, especially with how people didn't know who Dove Cameron was. So...
Yeah, I mean, I had one person give me something that I wouldn't answer the question to because it was Disney, and asking me who do I think Dove Cameron is the one that's the future sexy star out of the bunch after their time with Disney is done. And no, I think the one that plays her friend, the brunette, given what she's already pretty now.